Okay, good afternoon, everybody. It's just about 3 o'clock. My name is Richard Porritt. I'm the editor of the Norwich Evening News here at Archon, and prior to that, I was the business editor across the whole of the East of England for some time. So I've done a lot of work on the Business Awards, both in Norfolk and Suffolk. You've joined us here today, so we can tell you a little bit more about how the process works, and hopefully how you guys will produce an award-winning entry. Today, I am joined by Stephanie Griffin, our events manager here at Arch, and she'll be guiding us through the application process, and also by Rebecca Headden from R13 Recruitment, who is a winner of the, I think it was the Customer Excellence Award, wasn't it, Rebecca?
Yes, that's right.
So she'll be sharing some of her views about why the process is worth doing, and what the whole firm got out of it, and it will hopefully take us about an hour. But I have to say, I'm jetting off on holiday, so it might take a little bit less. I might try and get it through even quicker, and the weather's nice outside. So let's have a look at what we're going to cover in the next hour or so. If we can have the next slide, please. So we're going to look at why do businesses enter the awards. Now that might sound like a really sort of simple question, because you want to win, but there's a lot more that you get out of the process. Actually, it's a really good opportunity to have a bit of a deep dive into where you are, and to actually learn things about your business as well. So we'll chat a bit about that. Steph will take us through the process, and we'll also have a look at your application and how you do that. And there will be some top tips for entering the awards, which are very welcomed, I'm sure. And then we'll look at what the next steps are. So let's have the next slide, if we could. So why enter the awards? Well, the awards are part of a journey, which is about being the best you can be. By entering, you'll enjoy quite a few benefits, actually. Everyone likes to win, of course, and some of you, I'm sure, on this webinar will. But whether or not achieve the award, getting the award on the night, your business will honestly be better for taking part. It really does, like I say, shine a light on some things, and you do learn a lot about yourselves. Because you are often caught up in the day-to-day, and by taking a step back and having a view from above, it really does shine a light on quite a lot of things. So you also get to compare yourself with your competitors and challenge yourself to be better. And of course, at the end of the process, you'll be well on the way of achieving excellence. And it will, the amount of people who say to me it had a positive impact on their bottom line, which of course is the most important thing, you wouldn't believe. We get it on the night and through the process as well. Customers often will pay a premium for a better experience. Staff will be motivated, settled, committed, and there's a real sense of shared pride and purpose, I think, when you manage to go through the process, and when you manage to get nominated and hopefully win. So let's have a look at the next slide about some of the benefits that you actually get for entering the awards. So the endorsement of an award and a trusted logo gives potential customers another reason to work with you. It's dead simple, isn't it? You log onto a website and you see someone has been a finalist or even a winner, and you think, well, hey, they must be doing something right. And these awards are recognised across the region as being very robust. They are easily the most robust awards that I've ever been involved with. The amount of work and effort and time that goes into making sure that the people who are on the stage at the end of the night, or even as finalists, or even on that long list, are the very best in class, is quite substantial. And it's a newsworthy story. It provides a great opportunity to generate media interest. Stories are what I'm primarily interested in, of course. And one of the amazing benefits of becoming a finalist or winning an Norfolk Business Awards offers a great opportunity to be promoted on our really quite massive social platforms, through email send campaigns, obviously print and digital coverage, which we do better than anyone else in Norfolk. It really is money can't buy stuff. Winning helps you stand out, doesn't it, from your competitors? It's a unique selling point. All entrants will receive, that's all entrants will receive free feedback on their entry to help them improve in the future. You often find that you go through the process once or twice before you end up winning. However, we do have first-time winners, of course, as well. So don't be put off. And if you're selected for round 2 of judging, that entails a judging meeting where you will also receive further feedback. That helps you identify areas where improvements could be made, and also find out where you excel. And that's really important. I think competing against the other businesses in the nicest possible way, because we are all in competition, of course, can give you a benchmark. It's a real tangible level of success to aim for. The process of applying for an award is a useful business management exercise as well, as I mentioned previously. Excuse me. Helps you step back, take some time, which often you won't have, and reflect on your business and identify those areas that you could really give some focus to for future development. And of course, the best bit, gives you a cause for celebration, not just within your business, but when networking with like-minded people at the awards ceremony. And often, and I heard this only this week actually, someone who was telling me about a new business lead that they got, lo and behold, from attending the Norfolk Business Awards last year. It also, and this is a really key point today, helps you attract and keep high quality staff, increases motivation, increases loyalty. People want to be part of a winning team. It really does engender a feeling of pride within those people who work for you. And it's a great opportunity to reward your staff, give them a night out and recognise their contribution to the business. You will benefit greatly from the process. It isn't just about winning. That is the best bit if you manage to get there, but the process itself is really key. So every single person I speak to who says, what do you think? I always say enter. It does take a bit of time, but it is absolutely worth it. And if we could have the next slide, who better to underline the points that I've just said than Rebecca. Rebecca, it's really good to see you. Your business entered the awards a few times over the years, and in 2021 was selected as a winner. And you were also a finalist in the Business of the Year category as well. So can you tell us, firstly, why did you enter the awards? What prompted you to log on and take that extra bit of time and enter?
So we had entered the awards previously, so we were kind of familiar a little bit with sort of the process and that sort of side of things. But we were shortlisted previously, which was a fantastic accolade, but we hadn't been selected to win. So as part of our kind of marketing and PR strategy, sort of getting involved in the Business Awards was sort of a firm part of that. And kind of some of the reasons around it were to kind of be able to recognise our team, that the award that we entered was for customer excellence, and that's something that our team hold really dear. It's kind of one of our key values and our key ethics within an organisation, and that kind of reflects across sort of all areas of the business in terms of who we work with and who we support and all of that sort of side of things. So customer excellence was the logical sort of category to enter into, and a lot of that was to kind of recognise the people that we have in the business and the hard work that they do on a day-to-day basis. It was also to kind of promote the business and what we do and how we are perceived as kind of a sector in recruitment. I think sometimes recruitment can have a little bit of a bad rep. Unfortunately, people in most sectors have had bad experiences. But actually, there are some fantastic recruiters, not just in our 13, but sort of further afield, sort of certainly within the Norfolk area that we know of, that actually really strive for delivering excellence to their customers. So I think it was key for us, both as our 13, but also for the sector as a whole, to sort of really be able to shine a light on recruitment, and that there are agencies out there who will genuinely hold your best interests at heart and really help you to be able to make those career moves and find the best people for your organisation. And really just to sort of be able to create a bit of sort of networking opportunities, to be able to showcase what we do, how we do it, how we're different, sort of within the local business community as well. Those are the key things.
And I've mentioned now on numerous occasions already, and we've only been going for 10 minutes, how important the process is. How do you think that the process benefited the company? So take away the award and just think about the initial process of getting to the night itself. Do you think that was a benefit?
Yeah, I think what we'd learned from doing the awards previously, and you're absolutely right when you talked about receiving feedback as part of the process. And in fact, that was invaluable to help us be able to sort of formulate a way that we were going to work moving forward for when we entered again. So I think a big thing for us was sort of having time. Previously, it's sort of been a little bit rushed, and we'd actually used somebody externally to write our award entry. And whilst that felt like the right thing to do at the time, actually, using our internal capabilities, I think engendered sort of that authenticity in relation to kind of our application, and sort of carrying that through the process when we went to that interview stage as well. You know, it was written from the heart. We engaged our team to sort of get their feedback in relation to sort of what they felt and were sort of our key standouts in relation to the way that we delivered service. So it was really fantastic to be able to involve them. And in actual fact, they actually shone a light on some different aspects that we hadn't necessarily considered. And it also sort of helped us to look at what our processes are right now, how robust they are in relation to sort of the service that we deliver, how far we've come on our journey in the last 8 years at the time in relation to sort of how we kind of have formalized those processes. It's very easy as a small business to make sure that you have a sort of consistency in relation to what you're doing, but when you start to scale that business up, that can become much more complex. So it gave us the opportunity to really think about how we've done that, and also what we could do sort of moving forwards to make sure that we continue sort of push that envelope.
That's really interesting, a point there. I'm just going to pick up on briefly. You said that you involved the team right from the start. So this felt like a team effort right from the start to the end. And you can see the wonderful picture of you guys all beaming there. I mean, there's a bond there, isn't there, that comes from this process?
That was fantastic. And that's actually something that has been carried through. Because everyone was involved in that process, they were already brought into that process, and they now feel like it's their duty to uphold that service excellence mark, as you said, in everything they do moving forward. So it's kind of really integrated that service level, that consistency sort of across the team as a whole in relation to what they do day to day and how they do it.
So the award itself, how do you think winning that has enabled you guys at R13 to gain a competitive edge?
First of all, I just want to say that we never thought that we would win, not in like a negative way by any stretch of the imagination, but customer excellence has always been a really challenging category. It's always sort of been, you know, a really hot topic, hasn't it, I think, at the awards. And whilst, don't get me wrong, we 100% back ourselves in relation to the service that we deliver. When we saw some of the other fantastic, you know, businesses that were part of that category, you know, we weren't arrogant enough to think that it was in the bag by any stretch of the imagination. So I think when we did win, it was just an absolute lift. Everybody was delighted. I think because we had involved everybody throughout that process, everyone was so delighted, everyone was so happy that they had been involved, and that they felt that they had contributed. Like, it's an award that isn't just about us as business owners, it's an award that every single person within this organisation contributes to on a day-to-day basis. We all have to be singing from the same hymn sheet, we all have to be working towards the same vision, the same goals to achieve something like that. So it really integrated that into sort of our team and into how they felt about being here. You mentioned as well about sort of using it as almost like a recruitment tool. And that sort of worked on a few different levels. It kind of worked from the perspective of, you know, like I said, sometimes recruitment gets a bad rep. But candidates were kind of much more open to having conversations with us about their sort of career moves and that kind of stuff. So it kind of opened up those doors to those kind of conversations. It opened up doors to conversations with clients, because obviously that was sort of a key aspect of our application process and what we touched on and what we talked about. And I think that people sort of saw and understood that. And having done that application process, I think that you then talked about how you then integrate that into your business operations. And 100%, it just really shone a light in relation to some of our differentiators and how we were then able to communicate those when we were talking to different businesses and that sort of side of things. So it absolutely helped from that kind of perspective. And also from, you know, from a hiring perspective, sometimes what we do and how we do it is not the same as how other recruiters do things. So it really helped us to formulate the kind of candidates that we want to have coming into our business that hold those sort of service ethics and values very, very close to what they do and how they do it. And that sort of has helped us to be able to identify and onboard those people as well.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you'd entered before, and you think that you learned something from that as well, even though we've mentioned how much people learn from the process. But even if you don't get there, you think there is learnings to be taken from the process, and it's not time wasted if you don't get nominated.
No, absolutely not. I think it's really, and I think that you touched upon this, it's really interesting to kind of, as a small business, I'll start this slightly differently. As a small business, you're embroiled in the day-to-day. It's literally like a whirlwind all of the time. And certainly at the moment, I think most people in business would agree with that. Everything is so fast-paced. We were saying just before the webinar started, we can't believe that it's July. We can't believe that it's halfway through the year. So actually doing something like this makes you take time out and reflect on things. And sometimes that's very difficult to do when you're working on a business, in a business, all of that sort of side of things. So it's a fantastic opportunity to do that, to reflect on what you're doing, to recognise what you're doing well, and to identify what you potentially could do better and how you could potentially put that into practice. And going through that application process, writing things down is an excellent opportunity to reflect. And then having the opportunity, if you get to that point where you then meet with the judges and talk through and elaborate in relation to kind of what you do, how you do it, that kind of justification in relation to, you know, why you should be considered as somebody that should win the award, is a really excellent opportunity to sort of just take that time. So it's 100% worth applying, even just for that.
Yeah.
Take away, you know, the networking opportunities when you go to the event, take away, you know, the opportunities to have a really fantastic night out with your staff and reward them and all of that side of things. Just having that opportunity for reflection in your business and doing this process is worth it, I think. Yeah.
And you touched on the night itself there, and tell us a bit about that, because it's, if you haven't gone, it's not like, I'm sure you've all been to award ceremonies before. This one's a bit different, isn't it? It really is a big do. Did you have fun?
Yes, and it was a very, very good night, from what I can remember. Obviously, we did celebrate quite hard because we were very excited. It was, and genuinely, I mean this from the bottom of my heart, it was a fantastic surprise to win. And you know, I don't want to sound silly in saying that, but there were so many other brilliant businesses that were within that category that we hadn't written off that we would have the opportunity to win, but we were pleasantly delighted, to be fair. So yeah, it was a great party. There's such a positive vibe. Everybody on our table in our category was so, you know, there's no bad blood. There's no, you know, no sort of sour grapes or faces or anything like that. Everyone was so delighted for us when we won. You know, we're quite entrenched in relation to the local business community for obvious reasons. There were so many people there that were just supporting us and congratulated us and all of that kind of stuff. You know, the team were elated. You know, it was just a really lovely evening. And I got to meet County King, and she's literally incredible. And I think I may have, in my marginally drunken state, done a Wayne's World.
Yes, that's right. I think I remember. In fact, yes, it really is a great night, and you know, I've been to numerous now, and they just get better and better. So if you are lucky enough to be invited along, then it really is special. Listen, Rebecca, thanks so much for joining us. Can you stick around just in case there's any questions?
Of course I can. I will mute just in case there's any noise in the background. Okay,
that's fine. Now I'm going to hand over to Steph now, and Steph, if we could have the next slide. Stephanie Griffin is our events manager, as I mentioned before. Steph, I don't think I mentioned how people can ask questions at the start, so maybe you could tell them.
Yes, so obviously thanks everyone for joining us today. So if you would like to submit any questions, there is a Q&A box just at the bottom of the screen. So anything that we've obviously already been through, or anything that I'm now about to go through, we can answer any questions at the end. And obviously any that we can't get to today, we can follow up and sort of come back to you following on from the webinar as well. So just to start off today, if we could go on to the next slide, please. Lovely. So firstly, what I will do is I will just talk you through the timeline on how the process runs. So obviously we opened for entries on the 25th of May, and we're remaining open for entries until the 7th of August. Following on from that, the judging will begin very shortly afterwards. So we'll have 2 judges per category. Round 1 will be paper-based, with judges reviewing individually the entries received into their category and scoring against the set criteria. The scores will then be combined to determine a shortlist of businesses for round 2. So round 2 will then consist of physical or virtual judging meetings with the 2 judges and suitable business representatives, dependent on the category, again being scored against that set criteria. So the 4 finalists will be selected following this round 2 meetings, and one of those sort of 4 finalists will be the winner of the category. All judging will be complete by the 26th of September. And shortly after this, all of the businesses that enter the awards are then notified of their standing, and also given feedback. As Richard mentioned, our judges supply feedback on both the actual entries into the awards, and also any judging meetings that you're involved in too. So it's a very sort of beneficial process to be involved in. Obviously, once we advise you of your standing in the awards, if you are a finalist, you'll obviously be invited to the event itself, given all of the details, and we'll also request any information required for the finalist supplement. On the 2nd of November, all finalists will be announced in one of our lovely supplements that we produce, and it will also go online. So that's a print supplement and online coverage also. And we encourage businesses to shout about their finalist status as much as possible, providing social graphics and so on to really get it across their platforms as much as possible. Following on from that, we have the awards event on the 24th of November, and that will again take place at the Norfolk Showground. Our host is still being confirmed at present, but something to keep an eye out for you to sort of see who we're going to have this year. On the 30th of November, following the actual awards event, again, we will produce one of our winner supplements where we have all of our winners, pictures from the night, sort of judges' comments. So a really lovely spread of all of our winners and featuring our finalists too. Following on then from the event and our winner supplement, we do sort of continue that coverage. So we then feature each of our winners in paper, so businesses will also have access to promotional materials as well, so that you can keep that promotion up and keep shouting about what you've achieved. Lovely, next slide please. Perfect, so on to the application process. As you will likely have already seen, we do have our dedicated awards website. So that's www.norfolkbusinessawards.co.uk. Obviously here you can find the full list of categories along with the criteria and the specific points that the judges will be looking for. So this year our theme for the awards is growth. We obviously feel it's very important to recognise those businesses that have adapted and shown resilience over the last couple of years. So obviously keep that in mind when you are submitting your information to see if you're able to sort of ingrain that into your entry as well as you go along. We have implemented some new points for the 2022 awards, so just a couple to make note of. So a business can enter a maximum of 2 categories as well as an individual award. So that will be 2 business categories and then an individual award, which would be the Director of the Year. If you have won one of our award categories in the last 2 years, you aren't able to enter this year. So just due for a short break, and then you can re-enter again in a couple of years' time and really shout about what your business has done and the progress that you have made. And finally, we have changed the entry form. So we have got 5 criteria points and word limits in place to sort of ensure a really concise and relevant entry is being submitted to the judges, just to really enable you to get straight to the point and deliver the most useful information for that particular category. So the first thing that we would suggest to do is obviously review all of our categories. Each does have the written criteria and then the 5 weighted points worth 20% each. So we'd suggest taking the time to look through these thoroughly and sort of start to think about where you can evidence against each given criteria point. The entry form will initially ask for business details and then asking for a business overview, which does have a 250 word limit. So it's obviously really important to give a good promotional description of your business here. So giving a concise overview of what your business does will really help the judges to immediately understand your business background, sort of noting your main offerings, any sort of key development milestones, what your business is looking to achieve in the future, any plans, and also, of course, listing any awards and accolades that you've received sort of in the last few years is always going to be sort of beneficial to you too. You will then move on to the specific category criteria points within the entry form, where you'll have the opportunity to supply information relating to the category itself. So each of our categories will have different questions and points for you to sort of give the information for, and giving you the chance to give that evidence on why your business is eligible for the award in question. Again, each of those points will allow for a 250 word limit, meaning of keeping to that sort of concise responses for each of them. We do have 9 categories open for entry this year, then with the addition of our Norfolk Business of the Year, which is our non-entry category. It's a winner of finalist awards and also our outstanding contribution award. You can, as I mentioned, find the full list of categories available on our awards website. If you are obviously submitting 2 entries into the awards, into the business categories, obviously do just make sure to supply different copy, so to tailor your entry to the category. So this will also help when it comes to the business of the year, for example, if unknowingly at this stage you're a finalist in 2 categories, the business of the year judges actually review your initial entries. So it really is a chance to shout about your business as much as possible. And if you were to get to business of the year judging, then they can take a look at a sort of broader view of information. Our online entry form system is very user-friendly, but obviously you'll be able to get in touch with us via our contact us form. If you do have any queries or problems or questions around any of the criteria at all, please do just get in touch with us, as we are more than happy to help you. Next slide, please. Lovely. So on to some top tips now. So although evidence isn't compulsory, it's obviously highly advised. So any proof or numbers to back up your claims is only going to be beneficial when the judges are reviewing your entry. Ensure your evidence is relevant to the point you are responding to. It's easy to obviously talk about all of the amazing things that your business has done, but remember to give the headline information. You know, your business does all these amazing things over the coming months and years, but it's just keeping precise throughout the entry. So just think about what makes you the best in Norfolk, why your business is impressive compared to your competitors. Do your customers say you are the best? So if you have any testimonials that could perhaps back that up, for example, and why the overall experience your business delivers is so memorable. Next slide, please. Lovely. So just be sure to consider all areas of your business that you excel in. So services and facilities offered, care that you give to your staff and customers, sustainability. Think about the ways you are innovative in your field, and making sure that that your business story you detail is engaging, and be sure to shout about your successes. Also ensure you don't duplicate information you provide. Obviously you do have a limited word count available, so it's all about being to the point and that precision, as I've mentioned a few times here. And on to my final slide, please. Thank you. So finally, we would just suggest highlight why you're different and be sure to state your best qualities. As I mentioned, thinking about what makes you the best in your area. Read through the form twice, proofread, check it that you're happy with everything. We would suggest looking at the questions on the website and producing your responses perhaps outside of the entry form before submitting, just to really ensure they are at their very best, most relevant and concise state before you submit it. And as I say, allowing you to very much proof the information that you've detailed in your application. And then finally, just making sure you submit your entry before the 7th of August to meet with our deadline. Obviously, as I say, wishing you all the best of luck in submitting your entries. And if you need any help or guidance, then do just get in touch with us. And now it's back over to Richard.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think we have got one question. The Philippa, who asked, will we have access to the recorded session afterwards? I believe it goes on the website, Steph, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. It'll be available following on from this too.
Okay, so if you guys do have any questions, you've got about a minute while I fill the space by chatting to Rebecca. Now, I could chat to Rebecca for hours and hours, but I'm sure she's got far better things to do than chat to me. Rebecca, just briefly then, and there's been, and sorry, I'm throwing this one as a curveball at you, but I'm interested, genuinely interested. Where are we at with the recruitment sector? Because a lot of a lot of sectors have found it hard to recruit, haven't they? How are we looking now, sort of getting onto a year out of COVID and that type of thing? Where are we at?
Still very much a candidate-led market, Richard, to be honest with you. So still a lot more jobs in the market than there are candidates. So as an employer, entering into the business awards and being able to sort of showcase, you know, what makes you innovative, what makes you different, what makes you stand out from the crowd, it is definitely something that sort of does help people to sort of then be able to woo candidates in. You know, certainly as a recruiter, that's something that we're sort of really going into depth with clients in relation to sort of their employer branding side of things. So anything that you can do to kind of differentiate yourself in what is a very, very busy marketplace is a very good idea to do. Yeah,
and it, you know, if this process was to lead to hiring a really top-notch employee down the line, then it'd be worth it for that one employee, wouldn't it?
110%. Yeah, I mean, it's hard out there. I think you know, sometimes we speak to clients and they sort of say, am I doing something wrong? You know, I've put my job out there and I've had no applications. I mean, no, that is not unusual. That is pretty par for the course. So there's lots of things that you can do, and I could probably go on for hours and hours about it, but I don't want to put people to sleep. They're here to hear about the awards, not to hear about their recruitment strategies. But if people do want to hear about it, phone me. I'd be delighted to have a conversation about it, because obviously it's my love. But yes, it's
excellent. Well, you might be getting a call from me before too long. Well, we haven't had any further questions. Now, I presume, Steph, Rebecca, that's because we've done our job really well. That it can only be that. So listen, if you're shy and you don't want to put your question in the Q&A box, you can email us. The email address is there on the screen. In fact, all.awards@archant.co.uk. Also, there's loads of really helpful stuff on the awards website. It's norfolkbusinessawards.co.uk. You'll also see all the great pictures from last year. You'll see Rebecca doing this basically to one of our speakers.
Great. Obviously, that's something everyone wants to look out for.
You should definitely log on and do that. And as I said before, the recording will be available on the website. To what, shortly, Steph, or does it take a while? How long does it take?
Yeah, we should have it up by tomorrow morning.
By tomorrow morning. Okay, so if it's not there, send your complaints to Stephanie. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Listen, finally, it's really, really great, the awards that we do here at Archant in Norfolk. The standard is very, very high, and it really does allow you to pit yourselves in a nice way against your competitors and absolutely see where you are. As I've said, the amount of people who've gone through the process and have told me what a great process it was, as we've heard from Rebecca, of course, as well. It is very few people say, I wish I hadn't entered. In fact, no one's ever said that to me, because I think if you go through with it and you put the time in, you will get something out, win, finalist or not. It really is worth it. So listen, thank you very much, Rebecca. Massive thank you to you. Really appreciate your time. And really appreciate you giving us a bit of insight into how it works for the people who enter, and congratulations once again to you and your team for your success.
If anyone does want to reach out to me and just sort of have a one-on-one conversation, if they've got any questions that they don't want to ask in a general forum, please feel free. I'd be more than happy to sort of chat.
And they can find your details on the R13 website, I'm presuming. They
can. I'm on LinkedIn. You can come to my office, not my house. Just but yeah, I'm always happy to have a chat with people if they want to talk.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. That's superb. Well, listen, guys, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a great day, and I wish you all the very best of luck in the Norfolk Business Awards, and hopefully I will be seeing you in November. Thanks very much.
Nice. Thank you.
Thank you.